Elizabeth M. Boyer, Betty Boyer, the founder of Women's Equity Action League. Never heard of her, right? Neither has almost anybody else. You've heard of Betty Friedan and Gloria Steinem and Kate Millett and Germaine Greer, but you haven't heard of Betty Boyer. She just kind of disappeared off the radar. But the odd thing is, Betty Boyer founded a group called Women's Equity Action League that accomplished a great deal in the courts. Now, they did it in alliance with other groups, but they did a lot of wonderful work. For example, one of their major causes was getting rid of the sex segregation in help wanted ads. You know, you had the ads were male and female, divided into male and female, and inevitably the lower paying jobs were in the female category. Okay, that was one of their major causes. Another one, I think, was, allowing married women to get credit in their own names. Getting, there's other things that they did, which they had, which they fought in the courts primarily. And the reason they've been forgotten kind of hangs a tale in how they were founded. Okay. Betty Boyer was one of the 150 some people who was a member of the National Organization for Women. It was like about a year after its founding, and they had like this Bill of Rights that they found that they were voting on. And most of it just kind of sailed through. It was things like equal pay for equal work, equal opportunity in education, jobs, the ability to get credit for married women in their own names, these sorts of things. Those things all sailed through. Then they got to 7 and 8. 7 was the Equal Rights Amendment. One woman walked out because she said the problem with the Equal Rights Amendment is you can't divide women's rights from other people's rights. You can't start dividing up rights based on sex and rights based on other things. And then the 8th thing was abortion. And there was a lot of disagreement among the women there about abortion. Some of them, and Betty Boyer believed that pregnancy was a sacred trust. She was an attorney who was very, very upset with discriminatory laws and practices, but she did not support legal abortion. She believed pregnancy was, like I said, a sacred trust, and that abortion should be illegal. There were other women who also didn't want it part of the NOW platform, not necessarily because they thought abortion should be illegal, but because they just thought shouldn't be their cause. They thought there were other groups, devoted to that. Why did they, that they should basically stick with, seeking greater job opportunities and credit opportunities and athletic opportunities for women, and not get distracted by the question of abortion. And there were, and so you had this melee. And anyway, Betty Boyer was very much disgusted by the fact that was voted in. And anyway, the women who opposed that particular vote either left the National Organization for Women or they were kicked out of the National Organization for Women. So she went back to her hometown and she founded her own organization called Women's Equity Action League. Now, this was not an anti-abortion group. They just ignored abortion. And in fact, by the time it eventually folded, having gotten basically everything that they were, formed to get, most of the women on there who were members of the group probably just I talked to somebody who was a member and said by that time most of them probably did support abortion legality. But I think it's kind of sad that Eddie Boyer and Women's Equity Action League have kind of been forgotten about, given that they did do a lot of work on behalf of women, but they have been forgotten about because of Boyer's stance against abortion, against legal abortion, and I would like to see that rectified. I did write an article that a conservative women's group should put on its website about, not really about Betty Boyer so much, but is about the Women's Equity Action League.